In ancient Greece, clothing wasn't just functional. Well, it was, but sometimes it was also deeply imbued with religious significance. I recently published an article that's available open access titled Embodied Wearing Clothing for Artemis in Ancient Athenian Religion, which I'll link to in the comments. And I just wanted to make a few videos discussing some of the things that I talk about in that article. So, in this video, I want to discuss how garments were essential components of religious practice and belief, particularly in my study in the worship of Artemis in Athens. I'm not going to talk a lot about Artemis herself in this video, but let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in an Artemis deep dive. When we study ancient religion, we're often confronted with a challenging question. How can we recover lost experiences when so little has survived? And I mean this in several ways. We have both a lot and not very much from ancient Greece, paradoxically. A lot compared to some other places, and not very much compared to some, and a lot from some voices, like elite men, and not a lot from others, women, enslaved individuals. A lot of some kinds of evidence, massive stone buildings, not a lot from others, textile and clothing. Cloth rarely survives archaeologically in Greece because the climate just isn't right for it. But we do know that clothing was important for the religious experience of regular ancient Greek people. And we know this because the Greeks regularly dedicated clothing to divinities. And we have other kinds of evidence that tells us that, including epigraphic evidence, so stuff that's been written down on stone. The ancient Athenians used clothing to mark religious transitions, to facilitate divine encounters, and to embody sacred identities. To understand this, we need to explore what I have called haptic religion, the study of how physical sensations and touch based experience shapes religious practice. Haptic religion examines how objects, spaces, and people interact in religious contexts. And it helps us understand how ancient Greeks experienced religion through their senses. So, the feel of garments against the skin, the weight of dress, how these sensations created meaningful connections to the divine. So, think about the sensation of wearing special clothing for a religious festival, or perhaps more relevant to modern lives, for civic festivals, a graduation, a wedding, a funeral. Maybe like the confidence boost from wearing something fancy or a luxurious fabric that you wouldn't normally wear, or the unfamiliar scratch of that same garment. These physical experiences weren't incidental to religious practice, they were fundamental to it. That confidence or that itchy tag mediates how you emotionally encounter the event. It changes how you feel and how you act. For the ancient Athenians, religious experiences were enhanced and defined by the objects, spaces, and traditions they encountered in everyday life. This occurred through orthopraxic communal religion, where correct practice is more important than correct belief or orthodoxy. But that's not to say that belief is not important. And through participation in various public and private cults. Greek religious life was far more of a bricolage of experience than most people think of when they consider religion. So think about the way a Catholic might worship God and also venerate Mary and various other saints, but where each of these others has the same divine status as God. Clothing in this context serves multiple purposes. It indicates belonging, it makes identity statements, and communicates cultural meaning. But beyond these visual aspects, the haptic intrusion, so that feeling of clothing on the skin, changes as individuals move and perform rituals. It heightens religious awareness through that sensory experience. In the next video, I want to explore a specific example of this. So, the Arctea ritual at Brauron, where young girls played the bear for Artemis, wearing the krokotos, a distinctive saffron dress, as part of a coming of age ceremony. Through this quite remarkable ritual, which anyone who knows me rightly knows I am currently obsessed with, We'll see how clothing literally transforms girls into instruments of religious practice, creating powerful embodied experiences that shape their religious identities. This occurs both through the wearing and the specific taking off of these special garments. So, if that's something you're interested in, then hit the follow to get that and go and read the article. It's free to do so, and leave any questions and follow ups that you have in the comments.